Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us. That's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family, and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Alright, listen up, cabbies. I got your assignments. Riga, 643. Wheeler, 148. Nado, 804. And all of you. You need to join host HP and Father Malone as they examine one of the greatest sitcoms in television history, Taxi, in Night Mr. Walters, a Taxi podcast. Bantha, 0, like your boxing record.
Night, Mr. Walters.
We're in Way Media.
Now check this one if you will. Tonight we offer you the sour fruit of a scientist's failure. For there are apparently some things that can't be accomplished. And therein lies the tale and hangs the picture. In this, the Night Gallery.
Welcome back, art lovers, to Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast, where we've been discussing Night Gallery, Rod Serling's follow-up to The Twilight Zone. I'm Father Malone, and with me here in the... It's not the gallery. I guess we're in the gallery right now. Anyway, the Culture Cast, Chris Stachiw.
I prefer to be known from here on out as cheap.
And the projection booth's Mike White.
Somebody just grabbing me really tight across the back, like a big hug.
Tonight we are talking about the end of Season 3. Those are episodes 13, 14, and 15, and the segments therein are Whisper, The Doll of Death, Hatred Unto Death, How to Kill a Common Vampire, and yeah, there's so many segments. There's a segment that was originally filmed for Season 2 that ended up being aired in syndication. We're going to be talking about that. And I do want to point out that the series did end on a blackout sketch. But first up, Whisper.
Strips of ethereal night clouds as seen from the vantage point of a square acre of tombstones. And the face of a neutral onlooker who surveys the silence. Well, perhaps not quite total silence. Because the name of our painting is Whisper. And it tells the story of one body inhabited by two people. And at a point, as you can well imagine, this gets crowded. And if this one doesn't ice up the old spine, we'll send you one of our official apologies, along with the body. That's the kind of guarantee you get in the Night Gallery.
This is Season 3, Episode 13. It aired on May the 13th, 1973. The previous episode aired in March. They skipped the entire month of April. I wonder why that is. Because they couldn't handle the awesomeness of April of 1973. Anyway, this was written by David Raphael from a short story by Martin Waddell, directed by Jean Zwark, It stars Tony, hey Tony, no phony baloney, Tony the Tiger, LaRusso, Dean Stockwell, ladies and gentlemen. Also, Sally Field. It is the story of a young wife who's getting high on ghosts, and her husband is the dealer. Mike, what'd you think about this one? Don't. Nobody can see you whispering.
You couldn't hear me whisper that?
Vaguely.
That I could. I didn't really like this one at all, especially the way that it ended. I had no freaking idea what was going on for so much of this one, and then it just ended. What the fuck? So, what did I miss? What did I miss with it? That seems to be my thing for the shows. Can somebody please explain this to me?
Okay, very simple. Young couple, Stockwell and Sally Field. Sally Field is touched. She can communicate with the dead, or she's like a conduit for the dead. They can take her over and they can solve their problems, their unfinished business on Earth through her. And Stockwell has always known this and known it's true and is attracted to that aspect of it, even though it's frightening. And he's a little worried one time she won't be able to get back. She feels a pull across the country. And so they end up stopping in this small town where they've been living for about 3 months. And she keeps looking for this house over and over again. And then Stockwell here's the thing. Stockwell goes to a doctor to get her sleeping pills. At that point, the doctor is categorizing it as hallucinations. And he's basically blaming Stockwell for enabling these things. And he says, I've seen cases like this. The subject wants to go further. They don't want to come back. That's the setup for the end, because eventually the main ghost that's been haunting her, trying to find the summer house, it's another young bride whose child had died and their baby was interred incorrectly, and that has to be corrected. That's been the task the whole time.
Wow.
So Dean Stockwell plays the part of the husband, and he buries the baby, the proxy for the baby. But it's been happening for so long that what Dean Stockwell was worried about and what the doctor warned about comes to pass, and she can't get back to her body. The end.
Wow. So I was so confused because Sally Field through this whole episode is talking, I guess, with the ghosts.
Yes,
but she is the ghost at times, but she's talking with the ghost. And then Dean Stockwell, I guess he's talking to us, the audience.
Yes.
Okay. See, that's the most confusing thing. You can't have one character talking to nobody and then have another character talking to nobody, but one character's talking to another character and another character's talking to us. That was really fucked up, man.
Mike.
I'm sorry, but
I'm with you,
okay,
man.
Good.
It's fucking bizarre. Look, I like how you're like, it's my thing on this show. It's not yet things. Like, it's fucking when are you that?
That's what I feel like with this.
I mean, but to be fair,
how many times have I asked that on this show? And I'm not high while I'm watching these episodes. I swear I'm straight.
But to be fair, I was going to say, I did get what was going on, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, this is just this is just the spinning of wheels and the treading of water for 20 minutes. Just And you know what? Dean Stockwell's fine. Sally Field's fine. Sally Field doesn't play crazy very well. She's just too goddamn endearing as an actress. And yeah, the ending is just...
Agree.
Oh, you need to see Sybil. She's
amazing
in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. So
add it to
barring having not seen that, this is not a very good representation of that, is probably a better way of putting it. And the ending is laughably bad. I mean, it's asinine. Oh my God. But so the question then becomes, if you can't get back to your body, what does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean she's just a catatonic shell, eyes rolled back into her head, can't do anything? Or is the ghost still in her body? Again, this isn't they don't explain it because they don't need to. They don't explain it because I don't think they have a way to explain it, because they spend 20 minutes doing everything in their power to try to show, not tell what's going on, and they somehow fail remarkably.
You just wait. Father Malone's going to love this episode.
I fucking loved this episode.
No, you did not.
I did.
Boy, that is the theme here. It's too hot, too cold, just right.
Sorry. It's the magic of Jean Zwark. No, I'm not. That's not the case. I'm not liking it just for Jean Zwark.
The magic of Jean Zwark should be the name of your next podcast, because I think at this point you have defended no director more ever in the history of anything we've worked on than Jean Zwark.
He's really good, and he does fucking really good work here, man. What can I tell you?
He's no John Badham, I'll tell you that.
He's at least Badham's equal, sir. Okay. Here's what I liked about it. I liked the confusion at the beginning where, okay, first of all, it starts and it's typical of Night Gallery, the entire run of the series, where I think we've all been baffled for a good portion of every segment as to what time period this is. But this episode actually embraces that and makes us think that we're in some sort of like a little house on the prairie time. And then suddenly she's burning a plane ticket in the thing. I thought that was great. I do understand what you're saying, Mike, because she's talking to what I thought was her. I thought she was breaking the fourth wall. I thought she was talking to us initially, but then she's just talking to nobody. And then when we get outside, it's this slow pan of her and we get this voiceover. I thought we're getting a voiceover from Dean Stockwell. We're going to pan over and see what he's up to. And then we realize he's speaking out loud. And then is he narrating to himself? And then he turns to us. And it's so unnerving. Every time they've done it, and they've done it a lot this season, it works like gangbusters, man. And not only that, in this, he basically says to us, "You're dead." That was extra uneasy, thinking, I'm now supposed to be viewing this in the guise of a ghost. I'm just one of these floating spirits around her. And he keeps looking to us over and over again. He'll notice us, peering at them. I liked that a lot. I think, honestly, this is an episode that Rod envisioned. I know he had nothing to do with this episode, but this is what he wanted Night Gallery to be beginning to end, I think. These gentle character pieces with supernatural overtones. That's what I took away from it anyway. I do want to point out one thing. I haven't done this in some time, but there is another performer in this episode who deserves a bit of a spotlight. Here we go. Oh, that's Stormy Wind from the Hanna-Barbera library.
Oh, so good. I'm glad I had to hear it again.
I'm going to play it again because it comes up again later.
Oh, I know. It really, to the point where when I was watching it with my wife, she goes, "Can you turn it down? It's really obnoxious." And then I go, of all the times to be watching this in the evening as opposed to early in the morning.
So here's something cool. When William Hanna and Joseph Barbera left MGM to start Hanna-Barbera Animation, they took their sound editor from MGM, who in turn took with him a massive amount of sounds from the MGM library, which was then made available to all the studios in 1965 when Hanna-Barbera released it as their own soundtrack library. That includes Stormy Wind here. It plays a prominent role here. It's been played too often, too long. It is no longer in use, thank God, but it has appeared a lot in Night Gallery. It just was so prominently displayed. I had to point it out here.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I am shocked that you like this, but to Mike's point, it is kind of on brand. But that's not a bad thing. Like, I think my issue is more in tune with where Mike is coming from, which is I really had a hard time understanding who the fuck was being talked to. And again, I ended up understanding what was going on. I don't know, coupling the weird storytelling with a very weak ending. Like, again, I'm really struggling to understand what the the meaning of the story is.
Can I say
If there-
something about the ending? I actually found it horrifying. That the concept, like, I know they don't explain to us what it means, but in my mind, she's just floating in the ether now, and her body is a vegetable. Like,
Right. So it's like, get out then. Like, okay.
yeah, and now not even that, but Dean Stockwell now is stuck with the notion that everyone has said to him, you shouldn't be encouraging this in her. And like the doc even says to him, she's got all these things. What do you have? And he's, I've got her. So the horror here is that now he's caused this thing, and this crisis of supernatural conscience. This, I don't know. It bothered me. It worked on me, this ending. What can I tell you?
I get it. You
It's your
impassionedly describing it, I think, made me appreciate it a little bit more just now, because it did a very poor job in expressing.
It's Dean Stockwell, man. He's just so goddamn expressive.
That's the best part of this episode.
Oh my God, he's amazing. I enjoy any chance to see him, and he elevates everything. And I don't think the script does him a disservice. Too often on this show, we've had really like powerhouse guest stars who have been ill-served by the script. I don't think the script ill-served anybody here. I understand the problems you guys had with it, and I understand them. I don't know. This one just vibrated on a different frequency with me for some reason.
It's okay. I feel like while we might disagree about this one, I feel like the longer we go on in this episode, the less we're going to disagree. Probably to the point of complete and total agreement.
It's just going to be a high five at the end. We don't need to say a word.
Yeah, there'll be a freeze frame. Yeah, it'll be good.
Anything else about the whispering? All right, then.
Sally Field is cute in this. She's very adorable.
Oh, she's adorable.
I know.
He's been adorable.
I know, but
She
like,
still
she's
is.
like extra adorable. Like extra adorable. Like they shoot her in such a way, and she's just center frame the whole time, talking into the distance. Like just something about it. Like they just went adorable to 25.
And they were lucky to get it
Yeah.
here at the end of the Night Gallery Road.
We call your attention to this gentle facial study with the one visible intriguing eye and the wind-blown hair. And to those of you whose visual acuity is perhaps better than most, you'll note the skulls that one eye is contemplating. This painting is called Doll of Death, and it tells a story that takes place in the West Indies, where the ancient art of voodoo is still practiced and celebrated. Now, if you don't believe in voodoo, you can take this with a grain of salt. On the other hand, if you find yourself dancing to that distant drummer, and the drum seems to beckon, check for missing pins and brand new dolls. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Night Gallery.
Our next segment is Doll of Death. This was season 3, episode 14. It aired on May the 20th, 1973. This one was written by Jack Guss, based on a short story by Vivian Mike, and directed by John Badham. This one stars Susan Strasberg, her second appearance after Midnight Ever Ends. She'll eventually show up on another horror anthology show, Tales from the Dark Side. It also stars Alejandro Rey, Murray Matheson, who fans of Banachek will recognize as Felix, Banachek's version of Huggy Bear. And it also stars alternately the father of Vulcan philosophy and the scourge of my hometown, Las Vegas, Barry Atwater. This is the story of a spurned English aristocrat who uses voodoo against the man who ran off with his bride. What'd you think of this one, Chris?
Boy, it feels slightly ironic to end this series with an episode with Barry Atwater, and given that was the first thing that Mike and I ever collaborated on, so back in the early days of anything on the Night Stalker when he was Janos Skorzeny. This is fun. You know what this is? This is the episode that Tales from the Crypt wish it could have ever done with voodoo anything. It's somehow the most successful voodoo thing I've ever seen in any one of these shows, these kinds of anthology shows so far, mind you.
And the least racially problematic.
Yes.
Right. Shocking. It's what's funny is, again, to mention something else we worked on, we did a Tales from the Crypt show, and it almost was like a primer, as it were, for what we're doing now, because that was the first anthology thing you and I ever worked on, Father Malone. And it really is like the episode that show never had, because that show, we went on the record multiple times talking about how offensive most of those voodoo episodes were, and bad, more or less across the board. This is the first one that's neither bad nor offensive. It's just kind of, it does the voodoo thing, and it does it. But because it's this weird white dude doing it, it's just, oh, this is just weird instead of being problematic.
Yeah, I found myself enjoying this one quite a bit. Yeah, I see the twist coming and everything with all the attention being paid to that ring and everything, but I thought that they handled it pretty darn well. And I liked when the voodoo stuff starts proper, that Alejandro Rey is just in absolute agony. Seeing that kind of reaction on screen, I really like. So I love to see people in pain, is what I'm trying to say.
And the makeup serves it so well. It's clearly fingers that have been crushing his back. It's creepy and odd and wonderful.
Yeah, I really like that effect of the fingers and just the way they fade in. It was nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one too. I agree with you, Chris. Tales from the Crypt was yearning to get close to this episode, where the characters are all well-defined and the dialogue is good, and I understand everyone's point of view, and we're dabbling in voodoo when we shouldn't be, and it's a bunch of white people doing white people things. Yeehaw.
And that's as it should be. Like, every other time we've seen voodoo, especially when we did Chronicles of the Crypt, it was like, oh, look, it's the white people, and then there's all the island folk dancing around a fire in the distance, and stay away from them, and they're coming closer, and what happens when they come into town? They're going to take you back to their village and do God knows when. It's, wow, this is fucking ridiculous. And it was just that over and over again. It was often, here's the other thing I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad it wasn't zombies, because that was the other thing on Chronicles from the Crypt when we talked about Tales from the Crypt. It was always zombies. It was never voodoo. I don't even think there ever was voodoo dolls. I think it was always zombies or some sort of, I think at one point the thing with Clancy Brown was like a thing that made you live longer, but you were effectively like a living zombie. This is like voodoo dolls, which again, I'm cool with that. That's about as baseline a voodoo thing as most Westerners know. Okay.
Oh, I can't remember if it was the last episode or the episode before, but we just saw a voodoo doll episode on this, and it was really also effective. Remember I think it was a woman sticking the guy in the fire and everything, and he was screaming. This is up there with that. And I love how Susan Strasberg is just, at first I thought she was being mind controlled because it's like her wedding day, and here comes Alejandro Rey just like, no, you're mine. We fucked before. You got to come with me. And it's just, whoa, okay. This is pretty raw here.
We fucked in the barn, animals.
Yes, exactly.
Fucking A, bro. Yeah. I mean,
you really shouldn't be wearing white.
Yeah, he's fantastic, though. He
really is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was in a lot of television in the 60s and the 70s, and need to see a bit more of it because he was very magnetic.
Oh, yeah.
The misstep here for me in this episode is at the end when she's holding the voodoo doll and asks him, what would happen if it was your hair and your nails? It was like, really? You didn't right now? You're going to say that? Come on. I was loving the episode till this moment. But the effect at the end when Barry Atwater crushes the skull, and then it's like the simplest thing. It's this weird slow-mo with a little bit of a double exposure and his scream extended and weirded out. Like, his skull is somehow imploding inside. Oh, it was wonderful.
I loved it. I thought that was I don't know. Barry Atwater just plays such a creep so perfectly. Look, again, he's Janos Skorzeny, which big place in my heart. But this is a pretty good role for him to just chew up. And then, when he cocks back and smacks Susan Strasberg, it's like, dude, you're huge. Like, you're going to whack this woman's head clean off of her body. And when he inadvertently kills himself, I was like, man, that if they could have done a better effect, they would have. And that would have been, if it was Tales from the Crypt, it would have had his head explode.
Yeah. The whole episode would have been predicated on that effect going off.
Right. At the end, to rival Scanner.
Right. This feels almost more like a radio play to me, the way that it's set up. And I could close my eyes and kind of imagine hearing this on the radio back in the 1950s or something, and just like, oh, this is one of those spooky story type of things, and they would just have to explain it as far as like him grabbing onto the head and everything. But I think it would have worked well with that.
Absolutely, particularly the scene on the boat when the doctor comes to talk to them. They lay everything out basically, like,
Oh yeah,
understand you made a mockery of the marriage institution, and now you're reaping what you sowed. But it's not voodoo, because I know this guy. He wouldn't be a voodoo guy. He's a white guy. You've seen him, right? You know, it's funny. When I saw Night Stalker, and I saw it a lot, I had never seen Barry Atwater in anything. Prior to that, I had, because I had seen Star Trek, but I didn't recognize him in it. So this episode was the first time I had seen him acting, because he doesn't have any dialogue in Night Stalker. So I thought he was just some sort of stuntman brute, just the way he looked. I didn't think he was a professional actor. And now I'm watching him, he's erudite. I'm like, oh no. Sorry, misjudging you, Mr. Atwater.
I will say the haircut does not. And the haircut is bizarre. It's a choice, as they say. A real poor choice, but a choice nonetheless.
I like the grab bag of, it's not a voodoo episode at all. Like when he reveals that he's involved in the dark arts, he's talking about ISIS, like this they come to the view that I'm like, wait, what? Like, you've got a potpourri of dark magic going on down here. Okay. The episode just keeps letting itself off the hook for all the problems we've had with every voodoo episode, including here on Night Gallery with Lagoda's heads.
Yeah, because we've got the manservant, who is an African-American gentleman, actually Haitian-American is where he's from, and we could have pinned everything on him, and I'm so glad that we didn't.
No, he ends up being like the one who tries to save them, like by rebelling against the dark. And he's the one who warns us at the beginning with this very unusual omen of the dread sow underneath the tree.
Oh, yeah.
So
I liked that shot at the beginning where we see like that was where I was like, feels a little different. Like that was, again, like it felt like they were going in a different direction than all the other voodoo-y stuff. And I mean, I guess this isn't voodoo, this is obey. So because he even says, you rang that obey. Calm down.
When that scene first starts, but in the wedding, I somehow, the first time I had watched it, missed the opening dialogue amongst Barry Atwater and Murray Matheson. And it went straight up to the bedroom, and where she's getting ready, and she's obviously not interested in this marriage. She doesn't want to wear the gown. She's drinking rum by the fucking gallon. And so I thought, oh, this is going to be the story of this poor guy who gets spurned by her. And then when I rewatched the episode, I heard what he was saying. And he's saying, they're like, oh, you finally got the untamable what's her name? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to break her in. I was like, oh, fuck this guy. What?
Yeah, he's a real scumbag.
I'm glad he breaks his own head.
Yeah.
What a way to go. Just what a terrible, absolutely terrible way to go.
I love that it's a fitting end, and he clearly has a moment of recognition. Oh, look what I've done.
Yeah. This for me kind of is a late quality entry in Night Gallery, because there may be a cliff. Now we're about to just walk right off of it.
Now, anyone can show you a Rembrandt or a Picasso or a Jackson Pollock, but we dig much deeper with our paintings, frequently 6 feet underground, as is the case with this painting. It's called Hatred Unto Death, and it makes comment on the fact that there are certain anthropologists and psychologists who hold the conviction that blood memories are passed along in the genes. You scratch the surface of the 20th century man, and you uncover a Neanderthal. Now, if we're to accept this theory, it suggests a kind of unending reincarnation. But if man has a Mr. Hyde perpetually struggling deep within him, what lies beneath the surface of the lower beasts? We offer neither a postulate nor a promise. We simply suggest that you watch and listen. This is the Night Gallery.
On to our next segment. This is Hatred Unto Death. This was Season 3, Episode 15. It aired May the 27th, 1973, starring Steve Forrest, Dina Merill, Fernando Lamas, a man who inspired 2 separate SNL sketches. ¿Quién es más macho? Fernando Lamas o Ricardo Montalban. That was a Bill Murray sketch. And years later, Fernando's Hideaway, Billy Crystal's You Look Marvelous character, was modeled on Mr. Lamas. It also stars George Barrows as Nee, the gorilla. Quick word about Barrows. He had his first role in 1934's Tarzan and His Mate, where he played a gorilla. And he'd rack up over 24 roles as gorillas over the years, building his own gorilla suit to do so. The most famous role, of course, being Roman, the robot monster. That's right. That's the robot monster chasing Steve Forrest. Okay. This one is about a conservationist.
There's a whole history of these guys with these performers. Like I think there were like 2 or 3 guys that were going around in their own gorilla costumes, and then like Rick Baker picked up the mantle with his gorilla costumes. There's this big interview on the Island of Lost Souls disc, just all about these gorilla
performers. Yeah. I started reading about them today. It's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. It's just like, oh, he had the suit, and this suit is great, and he looks amazing in this suit.
We need a gorilla for this. Call one of 3 people.
Oh, Georgie? Yeah.
No, George isn't available. Call Dave. All right, Dave's got a good one. All right, this one is about a conservationist couple who kidnap a gorilla and force it into a game of cat and mouse in a history museum. What'd you think of this one, Mike?
This is going to be a weird complaint. It's going to be such a weird complaint. I had such trouble knowing where these characters were. Like once they're in the forest and they're jungle and they're going someplace and they're gonna do something, but then they run across this gorilla who just hates Steve Forrest. Oh, hates it, just staring daggers at him. And apparently he just loves Dina Merill. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But then they're like, okay, we're gonna send him to Fernando Lamas, and he's gonna put like electrodes in him. Basically, they're cutting him to be sending him to be vivisected. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. What I wanted those electrodes in this guy's brain, in this gorilla's brain, to tell him about the like cultural memory type of thing.
Mm.
Thank God Serling basically spoiled the episode in his introduction by talking about blood memory and things, because otherwise I don't know if I would have picked it up until way near the end of this, when it's like, oh, you seem to know me, big fella, don't you? Oh, look at you, look at all that hatred in those eyes. And I'm like, you can only say that so many times, but they want to push it to say it as many times as possible.
Mike, Chris, I just want to point out that this one was written by Halstead Wells and directed by Gerald Perry Finnerman. Please.
Are you saying that we should give this less of slack because it's not a Je ne sais thing?
Obviously. Go to town is what I'm saying.
I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I'm a huge fan of gorillas and primates. I think they're fun and cute, and who doesn't? And I have a friend who went to Africa last year and got to go see gorillas in the wild. I was very jealous. Very jealous. So this episode is right up my alley in terms of the insanity that is on screen with a gorilla with human eyes, and one of the greatest, if not the greatest, montage with a gorilla's face with images superimposed.
Oh my God, I love that.
It was so. That's the greatest minute of television you'll ever see, because it's just fucking insane. This entire episode, which is fucking insane. Steve Forrest gets impaled by a gorilla in its last dying breaths. It's just fucking insane. I can't even believe this is Night Gallery. This feels like a joke because it's so bananas.
I don't know how I feel about this. Here's the problem for the episode for me. It feels as if it was written it was written to illustrate this idea of genetic memory. Somebody read about that and went, oh, I want to write a story about that. But the other part of it is a tense, like I said, cat and mouse game between a gorilla and a man with a certain number of bullets who's also trying to protect his wife, she's fair game. And that stuff is great. But all the other stuff with them, with the gorilla, first of all, everything we were praising the previous episode about like avoiding all of the racial bullshit, like that That goes to roost real hard at the beginning of this episode when we're in Africa. By the way, I always think it's really funny when they redress the hills to be the jungle, but they clearly are doing it in the winter here because everything is dead except for the jungle plants that they line the roads with.
Wait, that's not Africa. Wait a second. Wait a second. You're
The
telling
budget
me
for
that
this was through the roof.
Oh my God. I figured as much. I mean,
Yeah, I
you're
thought they
telling
were
me-
on location. the
Yeah, I
whole
thought they
time.
were on the veldt the entire time. What the
Mhm.
fuck?
I
Yeah,
don't know why we went to Africa at all. Why not just have it be this couple who are like primatologists, have this thing show up and it hates this one guy, and then we can get into that. Because the whole genetic memory thing, like, he's wondering from the opening, like, why does he hate me so? What does he recognize me? Well, from what? And then he gets back, and then Fernando Lamas is like, you haven't dealt with primates. What do you think it is? Maybe he remembers you. And then fucking Dina Merill is talking to him like, I think you remember. I'm going to tell you a story, Mr. Gorilla. You remember back in the day when you were fighting with the pale man who'd been in the trees and he beat you and then he took your woman. Oh, my God. How about we just have the monkey running around chasing Steve Forrest while he's shooting at it and dropping his gun inexplicably?
I think the better part is why did Dina Merill, instead of going and closing the cage, she picked up the phone and called Steve Forrest
Oh
to
my
tell him
God.
that the gorilla had escaped when the gorilla was in fact still in the cage with the door 3/4 closed. And she goes, the gorilla's escaped. And then the gorilla comes charging out of the cage at her after she took 5 seconds to call him. I mean, it's just, it's for fucking ridiculous. And I feel like the only way to enjoy the later part of this episode is to just throw caution to the wind and go, they had a guy in a gorilla suit and 2 other actors, and they just said, go nuts, because we're fucked otherwise. We're fucked otherwise, because this is nonsensical beyond belief. Rod Serling attempts to save a nonsensical episode, and I think he does a better job than you would think he could.
But I like the gorilla. I liked all the gorilla stuff. That was fun. Like all the stuff when the lights go out in that museum and the elevator ain't gonna be taking them anywhere. I thought it ramped up and was really good. I just was so tired of being lectured about fucking genetic memory. I got it, man. I mean, maybe that's because it's fucking 50 years later and it's just sort of a common thought now, but maybe revolutionary back in 73.
I like Steve Forrest taunting that gorilla. Hey, Chief. Hey, big boy. Hey, come on down, big boy. Like, and that mustache, he just looks like a right proper dickhead. Like,
He
it's
totally does.
it's perfect. And it's a nice counterpoint to when we saw him. Really?
Amazon Women on the Moon.
I saw him in that, but we also saw him in this show.
Steve Forrest?
Yeah, wasn't he in another Night Gallery episode in like the second season? I'm like 99% sure.
I don't think so. I'm going to check.
Yeah, The Waiting Room.
Waiting room. Which one was that?
That was The Waiting Room and The Last Rites of a Dead Druid. Oh, guys, you're forgetting the episode where the old Western guy goes into the bar and everybody goes, "Stop forgetting that you're dead, kid."
Oh,
Yeah,
God. Yeah.
And he's the guy who keeps forgetting that he's dead. And Buddy Ebsen just keeps
Okay.
going, "You're dumb, boy.
That's right.
Remember, you're dead." Yeah, this is
God.
better than that episode. Primarily
Yeah.
because that episode didn't have a gorilla chasing after Buddy Ebsen.
No, man. Add gorilla to any Night Gallery episode that we didn't like and it would get better.
I think to any film, any TV show, music video, commercial.
I mean, the painting at the beginning of the episode is one of the best paintings. Why? Because it's a gorilla.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
this
that
is-
montage was just freaking amazing.
I know. It's like, I put some Philip Glass behind that, and it's like Koyana Scott's.
But I just think for the first time in the entire season, the music by Eddie Sauter fucking worked. Like when because it goes from tribalism to this synth explosion. And the transition is fantastic when it goes from this litany of jungle animals to these smokestacks just belching out. Hey, now we're in the man's world. We needn't have had one speech about what the original fight between man and gorilla was. That montage said it all.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the usage of something kind of. I mean, again, it's like very different from what we've seen. I don't think we've seen anything like that in the show. Like it is a very weird choice that stands out. I kind of wish someone else had done something similar. But again,
Well,
it's
they
a
attempted back
gorilla
in.
face.
They tried back in Silent Snow, Secret Snow for the
Oh, yeah,
Song of
yeah.
Poetry. Yeah. But
Nothing beats those gorilla eyes, really.
well, this one was telling us something, whereas Silent Snow, Secret Snow was just like, look at all the pretty stock footage of snow.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, all jokes aside, as kind of wild as this episode is, like, I had fun with it. It was fun because it was just completely nuts. It really didn't feel like a Night Gallery episode because it again, like, without the genetic big boy, like all of that, even if you take that out, it's still just a guy taunting a gorilla. It doesn't say Night Gallery to me. It's a weird diversion away from the supernatural and the paranormal, because a gorilla kidnapped that's aggressive is going to be aggressive in captivity because it was aggressive in the wild. What did you think was going to happen? Like, why did you do this, Steve Forrest? Because you're an asshole? It's so weird. Like, even the character, even his wife goes, why are you doing this? Even she asks him, like, why are you doing this? You're normally such a normally placid human being who just hangs back and you're a conservationist, but all of a sudden you want to enslave this gorilla and take him home with you. Like, why? And he just goes, because he recognizes me. It's so bizarre. But yet, sure, I'm along for the ride because the episode kind of just revels in it.
During the entire finale, all I kept thinking was, they have to have spent about like $10,000 to $15,000 to get this gorilla over here just to murder it. Like, they could have just. Also, during the scene where we discover the gorilla for the first time and it's trapped in a pit, when Steve Forrest makes the decision that they're going to take it with them. Before we know that that's what his intention is, he walks to the back of the Jeep and takes the gas can off. And for a moment, I went, "Oh my God, no!"
Yeah.
And then he opens the tailgate to get the net, and I was like, "Oh, okay, good. My God, Night Gallery, you were scaring me."
I was really just waiting for them to start, Steve Forrest and the gorilla to start crafting a gauntlet that allows the gorilla to talk together.
There you go.
I'd like a teeny, ugly gorilla, go away.
I'm smart gorilla.
Ugly gorillas, ugly.
What's funny is, so they've shipped this gorilla to the United States. They have it in the Natural History Museum because they're waiting for Fernando Lamas' facility to be reinforced for a beast of this size. But the entire plan is to cut this thing open and fucking turn it into a vegetable. Like, drug it up and haul it on over. Why is it even at the museum? And who at the museum okayed this? Just put it in the back room. Yeah, just...
What they should have done was hide it underneath the stairs and then sent Billy to check it out.
Yeah.
Oh man, it reminded, was it the skit from, was it Kentucky Fried Movie? He doesn't have any cigarettes.
Oh, it's Amazon Women on the Moon, yeah.
Oh, Amazon Women on the Moon. It's that same setup, filmed from the gorilla's perspective.
Yeah, exactly. All right, the final segment of this episode, aired for Night Gallery, is a blackout entitled How to Cure the Common Vampire, written and directed by Jack Laird, starring Richard Deacon and Johnny Brown. Johnny Brown, people might remember him on Good Times as Bookman, the hotel, what am I trying to say? He was the superintendent. Guys, here we go. Somebody tell me what happened here.
So two guys. Is Richard Deacon? That's not Rob Petrie's boss, is it? No. It is. Wait, is it? Yeah, it is. Mel Cooley. He played Mel Cooley.
Oh yeah,
He goes in with Johnny Brown to the old spooky dark castle. They crack open the casket of a vampire. Johnny Brown hands over a mallet and a stake to Richard Deacon, and Deacon says, what does he say? Is this
really sure?
War?
Are you sure?
Yeah. And then Johnny Brown, in the last line of this whole series, what's he say? Couldn't hurt?
Couldn't hurt. Which probably was Jack Laird's entire philosophy for programming the show. Should we put in a segment here where somebody goes onto an elevator and just takes their head off? Couldn't hurt.
And boy, doesn't it cut
That's
fast.
it. And then it, boom, shoom, right out. That's it.
There it was, ladies and gentlemen. You don't even need to watch it now. You saw it. Theater of the Mind.
God.
Oh, wait, no, that's the Good Theater song.
That would be nice.
Yeah. You gave Eddie Sauter too much credit. One time he did one good thing that we had to hear 30 other times poorly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this really is not the encapsulation of the third season of Night Gallery in a lot of ways. Like, couldn't hurt, and then fade to black immediately to cover up the fact that you didn't film any more than that, or God knows what the hell you were doing because it faded to black so quickly. Shame, really. It should have ended on the monkey segment. At least we could have gone out with a monkey dying after killing a guy on a pair of horns and cutting to a Neanderthal statue.
Remember the late
dilemma.
Remember the late Mr. Peddington when it cut to that shot of the guy falling out of the building, that really shock ending there? That's how they should have ended the series. They couldn't hurt, and then whoosh, out the window.
Is this any worse than the way Twilight Zone 85 ended or Tales from the Crypt?
No, this is much better. There were good episodes of this season.
Yeah. I'm talking about this
about one.
Yeah, I guess. This final episode, I think, ends up being, Tales from the Crypt real shit the bed. And Twilight Zone 85, did we not have one or two positive things to say towards the end of that show, or am I just...
Twilight Zone?
85. Did we detest that third season immensely?
I think there was probably one that we enjoyed, and it was probably a holdover from the second season.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't understand the decision to go out on a blackout sketch.
They had time to fill. At this point, there's no thought. There's just cram everything together and get the thing out. There's that other series, that they ended up repackaging it with. They were doing the same thing too. The fact that we got quality episodes at all this season is remarkable.
And one with a guy in a gorilla suit, nonetheless. I mean,
yeah, and appropriate that we go on a blackout sketch, and appropriate that it's as dumb as it was.
And that it's vampires, which I think puts vampires in the lead for subject of blackout sketches. Because 3 or 4 vampires.
Way ahead.
And I think the best one was you said he's down here. I did. That's still the best one because, again, these are just really lame.
You like that one? I like the one with Victor Buono, just because it's Victor Buono.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I like the idea that a vampire would take you somewhere and then you'd be like, I didn't realize you were a vampire. Really? Really?
They're cold to the touch, goddammit. All right, listen, that is the final episode of Night Gallery, but there is another segment to discuss technically, too.
It's a measure of our current mores that we base an economy on a credit plan. We do things on time, so to speak. Purchase the item, use it while you're paying it off. And this sets up the intriguing premise of this painting, in which the faith between seller and buyer is the ultimate. It's called Die Now, Pay Later.
The one we're going to talk about right now is called Die Now, Pay Later. This was originally filmed for the second season. In fact, it was meant to pair up with Little Girl Lost. This episode was originally called Year-End Clearance. It's written by Jack Laird from a short story by Mary Lynn Roby. Ironically, the story first appeared in Alfred Hitchcock Presents magazine. And it was directed by Timothy Galfus. This one stars Will Geer. He was Grandpa Zeb on the Waltons. Interestingly, he was a union agitator during the 1920s and 30s with Woody Guthrie. He was blacklisted in the 50s. What a fucking awesome human being he is. It also stars another awesome human being, Mr. Slim Pickens. This one is the tale of an undertaker's sale that may be the cause of a town's recent spate of murders. What'd you think of this one, Mike?
I fucking love this one. I was so happy watching this just to see Will Geer and Slim Pickens going at it. But then those weird montages, which I eventually figured out were the cat, the spirit of the cat going out and murdering people so that Will Geer, who I guess is... maybe he's Satan? No, he's a warlock.
Warlock, yeah.
He's a big-time warlock and wants to drum up some business for his undertaking place. So he's selling all of his wax flowers and, of course, all the caskets and things because they're all old models. You know, you want to get the new model caskets in there. So what better thing to do than just murder a whole bunch of people that everybody really wanted dead anyway? So I didn't catch the very end of it that they made an agreement that Slim Pickens' wife was going to be next on the list. It took me a second to kind of catch that one, but man, oh man, I love the way that this was put together. It is so fast paced. The way that they are talking back and forth really, really moves. And just to see those two guys. I mean, it was just a delight to watch these guys in action.
This should have been the way the show ended. I mean, I'll just go out and say it. Also, okay, maybe it's just me. I don't want to be that guy, but I'll be that guy because this is the final episode. There's like a gay thing going on here too? Was it just me?
Seemed like it.
Okay, okay, good. It wasn't just me. Will Gear seems lonely, and Slim Pickens seems like his friend that he can't hang out with anymore because his wife says no. Will Gear's just give in. Just come hang out with me. We'll play checkers, and then we'll start drinking.
Nobody comes by anymore. It's just me here.
Mm-hmm. We'll watch some stag films together, and then one thing leads to another, and then we're wrestling naked, covered in baby oil. Again, I'm not saying that's what they were all the way going for, but it is kind of strange because it's portraying a male relationship that's atypical in the power dynamic, as it were.
Mike, you mentioned Creepshow in the last episode, and this actually reminded me quite a bit of The Crate, the Dexter Stanley and Henry Northrup's relationship together. The only thing keeping them apart was goddamn Billy. It felt a little bit like that, and I couldn't agree with you more. This was great. First of all, I can't believe that this didn't make it into the second season. Was the second season so great? I remember some duds. This could have fit in there very nicely. Who made the decision that this wasn't good enough? Who made the decision that this wasn't good enough for season 3? Are they out of their fucking minds? Why didn't they end the goddamn series with this? Perfect.
And it really reminds me of that James Gregory segment as well, where the woman comes in and she's, my husband's trying to kill me.
Right.
And it reminded me of that because the conceit is more or less the same here at the end, like identical. It's like, hey, I'm going to kill my wife. And is that not the ending of this? Oh, we'll let the sale go for one more day so I can keep hanging out with you and doing whatever we've been doing, like playing checkers. Again, sure. Again, like I enjoyed this segment immensely. It's a real shame that it just was in syndication. And you know what? Also, Slim Pickens' jacket, fucking slick as fuck. I love that jacket. I love everything about this episode's set design and production design is just fantastic.
Couldn't agree more. Hell of a way. You know what? It felt so good I watched this. We watched the series chronologically, obviously. So I watched this last, and it felt like such a balm for the rest of the season.
Oh, even just to have the season 1 and 2 music back, I was like, oh, I missed you so much.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. Like ordinarily, my hand goes to skip, and then when it wasn't necessary, and I realized we were back in the loving arms of seasons 1 and 2. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't think it can be overstated how terrible the music in the third season of this show is. It's just, it's really a bad. It's a bad decision on a show that's already struggling, and so I just give it a fucking bigger shovel. Why don't you? And help them shovel the dirt on time. Can you imagine watching the show on TV and hearing that and just being like, if I didn't know what it was, I'm turning this off because it sounds like it's trying to get my attention in the worst way possible.
Well, I swear there are screams as part of the sound design in the music. If they're not screams, they sound like screams.
Yeah, he's got the violins shrieking at an interminable level.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst thing ever. Eddie Sauter, please, sir. I'm sorry the series is over and that we don't get to discuss this group of writers and performers and directors anymore. But I'm perfectly at ease no longer discussing Eddie Sauter or having to hear that theme ever again.
Yeah, it's real bad. And I'm kind of disappointed that this didn't show up in rotation for another reason, which is this not then the only time Slim Pickens was ever on this show?
Yeah.
So he never was technically right. In syndication, but technically was never on this show, which is a shame because he always plays this one thing in the things that I've seen him in, but he plays it so gosh dang that you can't help but just smile and love the guy.
I would like to read to you the description of one of the unproduced scripts. This is Rod Serling's final unproduced script. It's called The View of Whatever. It's the story of Joe Spragg, who develops a desire to escape from a present he hates. Taking the form of a strange delusion, he claims that his childhood past can be viewed from his bedroom window, which is a portal to 1930s Binghamton, New York. He takes his chance and steps through the window, finds himself 10 years old in that summer. Ultimately, he looks pensively at the camera and he dissolves to the present where he escaped from, and then that he's lost in the past forever. A fitting end, for he's a jolly good fellow, Mr. Rod Serling.
I was thinking the same thing. You think that song showed up in that segment?
I can only pray it did.
Everybody sing with me now. It's just, God, it's like you can hear him doing it in there. You find a reason, Rod.
Everyone listening to the theme this season will no doubt hear the gentle strains of For He's a Jolly Good Fellow, our theme for the season 3, produced by our pal HP.
You enlisted him to send us out on the highest of high notes this season.
Just want to remind everybody what we had to tangle with.
I'm kind of curious because one of the other unproduced things for this was No Such Thing as a Vampire with by Richard Matheson.
Oh, yeah.
And that was adapted for a Dan Curtis joint called Dead of Night. I'm not sure if that was a TV movie. I think it might have been. But Ed Begley Jr. is in that. Not that particular segment. That one has Elijah Cook Jr. and Patrick McNee. So now I'm like, I'm going to have to watch this Dead of Night.
I saw it a million years ago. It's another thing where Matheson wrote the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. Trilogy of Terror.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to seek that out later this evening.
It looks like Matheson and Jack Finney. Finney wrote
author?
one of the... Yeah, he wrote one of the things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Finney, for most people listening, I'm sure you know Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, and several episodes of The Night Gallery had based on Jack as well. All right, now, listen, ordinarily, we'd play a preview of the next episode, but we've reached the furthest wing of The Night Gallery.
Oh, are we not talking about Room for One Less, that amazing other blackout skit? Oh,
I guess we can.
Why would we leave out another thing we've seen before, but with a different kind of creature?
Oh, my God. I thought we were going out on such a high with Dina Pay later, but you know what? You fired at us.
Would it not be Night Gallery if we went out on the correct note, which is a disappointing one?
All right, fine. Look, there's another fucking blackout sketch. It's an elevator sketch. There's a monster in an elevator. It makes everyone be nice. Okay. We saw it earlier last season. It's so dumb. The monster's kind of cool looking, I guess.
Looks like an anglerfish.
Well,
that looks like an early Predator to me.
Yeah, the early Predator.
Yeah. The Jean-Claude Van Damme Predator. That's what I'm saying.
The orange Predator.
Yes.
I think it's only fitting desserts, just punishment for Night Gallery to go out on a retreaded blackout sketch.
Big wet fart.
Yeah.
There's always season 2. Now, like I said, midnight viewing is not, we won't be talking about Night Gallery anymore. Next season, tune in. We'll be talking about Tales from the Dark Side, the Laurel Entertainment produced television horror anthology from the 1980s. Very much looking forward to that. Until then, where can people find you and what are you working on? Chris.
WeirdingWayMedia.com is where everything that I work on can be found, including shows that we've alluded to and mentioned, Chronicles from the Crypt, which if you're listening to this, you should probably check that out because that's an anthology thing. Dreams for Sale, another anthology thing. And then, soon the next season of this, which I will continue to watch anthology shows until we run out of things to watch, which at this point, we're continuing to find things that we either forgot about or didn't know existed. So I think we'll be busy from here until the end of time. So all those things can be found and will continue to be found at Weirding Way Media.
How about you, Mike?
Gosh, yeah, even if we just stuck to anthology movies, we would be here till the end of time, much less series. Yeah. True. Until then, I'm over at weirdingwaymedia.com as well, where I work on some stuff with Chris and with you, Father Malone, and my own stuff. You can check that out at projectionboothpodcast.com if you want.
As for me, check out my shows Dark Destinations, a radio drama I write and produce, and you can hear me on Night Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast hosted by HP. If you want to hear this show a week early, head over to Patreon/Father Malone. Membership will get you listening ad-free and give you access to exclusive content.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us here at Midnight Viewing. This gallery is now closed.